Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een amma ba'd. Welcome to another episode of Can You Handle the Truth? In this series of episodes, we're going to have a look at the pressing questions out there that many human beings ask. What is the truth of the life of this world? Why am I here? What is the purpose behind my existence? Does God exist? If He does, what does He want from me? Is there a certain religion that God wants me to follow? If so, what is that religion? These are questions that many people ask. And the truth behind these questions, the answers, they're out there. And so in the last episode, we looked at how the truth is out there. And the reality is that there is an absolute truth. There is one and only one truth, because there are many claims out there of the truth, and each claim contradicts the other. So how on earth could all of them at the same time be the truth? And so there's no doubt that the number of religions out there in the world make it a challenge. They make it a challenge to know which one is correct. However, the challenge of different answers to a particular issue is not unique with regards to religion alone, nor with regards to God. For example, you can sit down 100 students and give them a complex math question to answer. There's no doubt that many of them, perhaps even the majority of them, will get the answer wrong. Does that mean that there is no correct answer? Does it mean there's no correct answer out there that is possible for them to know? No, of course not. Everyone knows that, yes, there is an answer there. However, what does it mean? It means that those who get the answer correctly, they knew the truth and they answered accordingly. Those who did not answer correctly, they simply need to be shown their error, their mistake, and then they have to be shown, various techniques with regards to how to arrive at the correct answer. And so if this is the case with regards to a simple example like this, then how about the greater purpose of life, the very existence of man? How on earth could, the answer to this question be a puzzle and remain a mystery? And so the reality is that the truth is out there. The reality is that the answer to these questions, it's out there. However, we need to search for those answers. The reality is that each and every single human being, he's born in a circumstance that he did not choose. And so the religion of his parents, of his family, was adopted by him. The ideology of his society, the beliefs that are held by his society, he naturally inherits them. And so this is the case with regards to pretty much every single human being. And so by the time he matures, he becomes a teenager, and he starts to look around and he's exposed to other beliefs. He starts to question the validity of his own beliefs when he compares it to others that are out there in the world. However, the reality, and the sad reality, is that most people, they don't do that. They don't question the validity of their own beliefs, whether they're exposed to other contradictory beliefs or not. The reality, the sad reality, is that they continue to live as they were taught, as they were brought up, in the same manner, the same way of life. They don't change. And they seldom wonder, if what they're following is the truth or not. They don't question, is this belief that I have inherited from my family and that is prevalent in my society, is it actually the truth or not? The sad reality is that most human beings out there, they don't question. if what they're following and what they're upon is the truth or not. And so if they were to hear of some opposing beliefs out there that contradict their own beliefs, they simply brush it aside. They don't bother pursuing those beliefs. And so, for example, if someone was born a Christian in a Christian society, and then later on he grows up and he goes to university and he meets, let's say, other international students who come from other parts of the world, he's exposed to their beliefs. And they sit together and they exchange their beliefs. Now, as I mentioned, some people, when they're exposed to those beliefs and they question their own beliefs. And so this Christian, he questions his own beliefs, the beliefs of Christianity that he was brought up with. And that is because the other beliefs that he's being exposed to are contradictory to his own Christian beliefs. But there are people, and this is the majority of people, they are exposed to those contradictory beliefs, but they don't care. They say, you have your religion and I have mine. I'm going to continue living this way. This is the way I was brought up. Whether he believes with certainty in his own beliefs or not. Many people, what happens is they realize that there's something wrong with their own beliefs, but they don't accept the truth that they're being exposed to. Instead, they abandon everything altogether. And that is the reason why atheism is spreading so rapidly, especially in the West, because Christians are being exposed to other beliefs that clearly prove Christianity to be wrong, but they don't want to take on those other beliefs. Instead, they give up Christianity, they give up all other beliefs, and they say that we don't follow any religion. And the reason for that is that most people have become accustomed to their own way of life. They have become accustomed to it, and they don't want to change their ways. Others, they simply follow what they have because they don't want to abandon the ways of their fathers and their forefathers and so on and so forth. They want to remain stubbornly upon what they have. And so even if they see the truth as it is, they reject it. And so they simply want to follow what their fathers gave to them. They don't want to abandon it. They want to remain upon it. Others, they actually believe what they have is the truth. And so, even after being exposed to other beliefs, they say, no, what I have is the truth. And they come up with as many arguments as they can to confirm what they have as being the truth. And so the reality is that we cannot really force people to change their beliefs. We can't force them to change their ways. If someone wants to blindly follow what they have, if they want to blindly follow their beliefs that were inherited to them, I can't force him to change. You can't force him to change. Nobody can. And this is the reality that, God, He created people and He left people to choose what they want to choose. In the end, they'll face the consequences, but in terms of us forcing people, we can't force people. We leave them as they are. However, we show them the truth as it is, and then we leave them as they are. If they accept it, they accept it, and that's good. And if they don't, then, we tell them, and we expose them to the consequences of their choice. And so if someone wants to stubbornly remain upon the way of his fathers, his forefathers, there's nothing really, we could do about it. But I'm sure, having said that, I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say that if you were to tell those same people that, your house is on fire, the least that they would do is that they would wake up. They would be in a state of shock, and they would go and check, is it really on fire? Even if they don't accept what you have to say, even if they're not certain, are you telling the truth or not? The least they'll do is they'll get up and run and check, is my house really on fire? And so they'll investigate, they'll check whether or not what I'm saying is true. And so why is that the case? That is because now there are negative consequences There are repercussions to not searching for the truth. And so any sane person, he'll get up and he'll go check, is my house on fire or not? Why? Because he knows of the negative consequences behind not searching for the truth regarding this claim. And that is that my house will become destroyed. My family, they'll die. And so which sane person, which sane human being would just sit around if you were to tell them that your house was on fire? And so if they did not believe me, the least they would do is they would go and they would check. And so I say the same thing regarding, these big questions in life, regarding the existence of God, regarding the existence of me as a human being. Why am I here? And, am I supposed to follow a religion or not? We say the same thing regarding this. Let us all be seekers of the truth, and let us open our eyes. Let us open our ears. Let us open our minds and, listen and look at what is being claimed about the truth. And then after that, decide for yourself, is this actually the truth or is it a lie? And the only reason why I say this is because not seeking the truth, not checking to see if what is being claimed as being the truth, it has its negative consequences. Not going out there and searching for the truth, it has its negative consequences, its repercussions behind it, just like the fire if someone said that your house was on fire. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
I'm your brother in Islam, Hussein Yi from Malaysia, and you are watching Peace TV, the solution for humanity.
At the time of Nuh, peace be upon him, the floods swept the entire earth, sparing only those who believed. Today, floods of shirk, floods of innovation, and floods of desires and lust are sweeping the whole earth. Al-Imam Malik ibn Anas of Medina said that the Sunnah is the Ark of Nuh. Whoever boards it is saved, and whoever refuses is drowned and is doomed forever. Join me in Al-Arba'in al-Nawawiyya, the 40 hadith compiled by Al-Imam al-Nawawi.
Join Asim Al-Hakim in Al-Arba'in al-Nawawiyya tomorrow at 11 p.m. and repeat telecast at 12:30 p.m. India on Peace TV.
Where truth is hidden, misleading quotations create confusion. Where truth is hidden, lack of knowledge and wisdom cause upheaval and commotion. Where truth is hidden, manipulated scriptures and twisted facts emerge. This very hidden truth creates false propaganda, mayhem, chaos, disorder, and turmoil in our lives and the world order. But is there anyone with courage and wisdom? What is the truth, and who has the courage to expose it? Because it's your right to know the truth.
Watch Truth Prevail and Lies Perish in Truth Exposed by Dr. Zakir Naik, next on Peace TV.
Welcome back to our program, Can You Handle the Truth? Before the break, we mentioned how not seeking the truth about the big questions in life, about the existence of God, about the purpose behind my existence, about, does God want me to follow a particular way, a particular religion, or not? We had said that not investigating and searching for the truth regarding these questions, it has its negative consequences. It has its repercussions. If we were not to search for that truth, we'll see those negative consequences. Those dangers, we'll see them eventually one day. And so just like if someone was to say that your house was on fire, you would immediately go and check, is it true what is being claimed or not? Why? Because if I don't, I know of the negative consequences behind that. And, the destruction of my home, my family getting killed, etc. And so I say that remaining upon the way of your forefathers, stubbornly, blindly following the beliefs that you have inherited from your parents, from your family, from your society, if these beliefs turn out to be false and not the truth, and you die holding on to these beliefs and following those ways, then you will see the negative consequences of that eventually after you die. And so, imagine yourself right now at a crossroads. You have come to a crossroads. The road ahead of you splits into two. Or you come at a T-junction, and you cannot go straight, either right or left. And so, if you go left, it takes you to that path of your original beliefs. Let's say you're a Christian, and so you remain a Christian if you take that path that goes to the left. If you're a Hindu, you continue on that path that goes to the left. Now, where the path ends up, does it end up as being the truth or not? This is something that you believe is the case. Others would disagree with you. Now, as for the right, if you were to go right and choose the path that goes to the right, for you, there is a big question mark on it. For you, there is a big question mark on that path. You don't know. Is this path going to lead me to the truth or not? Am I going to suffer the negative consequences if I continue on this path that I am currently on to the left? Or is it going to be to the right? Is salvation going to come if I go to the left? Or is it going to be if I go to the right? You have not even investigated about that new path, the one that has a question mark on it. Is this the truth or not? What are the evidences for it? So how could you be certain? And so, which road is the one that will take me to my destination? And which road will be the safe road to take? The one to the left or the one to the right? Not only that, but we can look at it in a different way. It's like a question that you get on an exam, a true and false question. And so you have to choose either A or B, either true or false. Now, if you did not bother to study for this exam, then you won't know the answer to the question. You don't know, is it A or B? Is it true or false? And so there's a big question mark on both of these. And so the same thing can be said here, that if you choose true, it could end up being false. And if you choose false, it could end up being true. The same thing can be said regarding your religion that was inherited by you from your forefathers, or that ideology that you have accepted as being the truth because of the society you live in, and so on and so forth. If you don't expose yourself to other beliefs, other ideologies, other claims out there regarding the truth, then you will never know what truly is true and what truly is false. And so what I want to do in this series is basically open up your mind. That big question mark that is on that path that leads to the right, I want you basically to become exposed to the realities behind this question mark, so that question mark no longer remains there, so that you can see that path for what it is, and then decide, is it the path I want to take or not? This is simply what I want to do. And so it's a matter of life and death. It's a matter of the truth versus falsehood. It's a matter of eternal bliss versus eternal punishment. And so the choice is yours. Really, in reality, the ball is no longer in my hands. The ball, it's in your hands, and it's in your court. I'm not asking you to abandon your religion. I'm not asking you to change your religion. I'm not asking you to disbelieve right now in what you have always believed all your life. I'm not asking you to abandon all of that and today become a Muslim and accept Islam. All I'm asking you to do is open up your horizons. All I'm asking you to do is investigate for yourself. Search for the truth yourself. And so if we human beings were to remain stagnant and stubborn upon the ways of our forefathers, then the reality is we would never have reached where we have reached today as a human civilization. We would have remained upon the old ways, upon the backward ways of our forefathers, the previous civilizations. We would never have reached where we have reached today as a human civilization if we had remained stagnant, if we had said, look, I'm not going to search for anything, I'm not going to open up my horizons to new things out there, rather I'm simply going to sit back and accept life as it is. And so what I call you to be a seeker of the truth, nothing more, nothing less. All I'm asking you to be is to be a seeker of the truth. I'm not asking you to be anything else. I'm not asking you to be a blind follower. I'm not asking you to simply accept what I have to say, just like that, without asking any questions. No, this is not what any sane person would demand from anyone. This is not what a Muslim demands of any human being out there. However, I want you to remember one thing. As we go through these series of episodes and we examine the truth as I claim it to be, and we examine its evidences, it must always be kept in mind that you can only determine the truth and figure out the true path. You can only do it by putting aside your emotions, your prejudices, how you look at Islam, for example. You have to change the way in which you look at it. You have to have an impartial mind. And so these emotions, these biases, they usually often blind us to reality. And that's the reality. The reality is that in the past, people used to believe, for example, that the earth was flat. And when it was discovered that it was not flat, those people, even some scientists, rejected the new belief that the earth was no longer flat. Why? Because of their emotions, because of their, preconceived notions, because of their biases, because they wanted to remain upon their old beliefs. And so these emotions, these biases, they basically blind us to the truth. And so if we were to keep this in mind, then and only then would we be able to use our human mind and our human intelligence and make a rational and correct choice and decision. And so just like we have eyes with which we see so that, we walk on the right path and we don't trip and we don't fall. We don't fall into a hole. We have eyes, we see, we walk. And just like we have ears with which we hear, if there was a danger and somebody was to yell out, watch out, then I would be alerted to that. Similarly, we have minds, we have intellects, we have hearts that we have been given. And so we should open these hearts, we should open these minds and use them to accept the calls of people out there who are calling us, inviting us to see the truth, who are warning us against the dangers of not accepting the truth. And so I say that we all have minds, we all have intellects, we all have hearts to enable us to make this crucial decision. It is the most important decision that, a human being can make in his life. And upon it depends his future after he dies. And so consequently, each and every single one of us, no matter who he may be, whether he be a Muslim, whether he be a Christian, whether he be a Hindu, whether he be a Buddhist, whether he be even an atheist, I say that each and every single one of us needs to examine dispassionately the evidence that has been presented for the truth, and then choose what appears to be right until further evidence arises regarding that. With that, we come to the end of this episode of Can You Handle the Truth? Until our next episode, I hope you all the best. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Season comes Latina, season comes Angela.